You've been here before. The same situation, the same decision, the same sinking feeling in your chest. And deep down, a part of you already knew how it was going to end. Because somehow, it always ends the same way. And yet, you found yourself doing it again. Not because you're careless, not because you didn't learn your lesson, but because there's something quietly happening inside your mind that keeps pulling you back into the same patterns, even when you genuinely want to change. So why does this keep happening? And more importantly, how do you finally break the cycle instead of living it over and over again? Stay until the end. Because once you understand this, you'll never look at your mistakes the same way again. Everyone has a pattern they promise themselves they would never repeat. Maybe you keep trusting people who always let you down. Maybe you keep putting things off until the last minute, knowing you'll regret it later. Maybe you keep saying yes when you really want to say no. Or maybe every time life starts going well, something happens, and somehow you're the one who ends up pulling everything apart. Afterwards, you look back and ask yourself the same question. Why did I do that again? You replay the moment in your head. You tell yourself that next time will be different. Next time you'll see it coming. Next time you'll make a better choice. And for a while, you believe it. Then life gets busy. Stress builds. Someone says the wrong thing. A familiar situation shows up. And before you even realize what's happening, you're back in the same place, making the same decision you promised yourself you were done making. It almost feels like you're watching yourself do it without being able to stop. That's the part most people don't talk about. They think if they keep repeating the same mistake, it must mean they don't have enough discipline. They tell themselves they're lazy, weak, or simply not trying hard enough. But that's rarely the real problem. The truth is, most repeated mistakes don't happen because you don't know better. They happen because your mind has become so familiar with that pattern that it follows it automatically. Like walking the same road every day without thinking about where you're going. Think about someone you know who always ends up in the same kind of relationship. Every few months it's a different person, but somehow the story never changes. The names change, the faces change, but the disappointment feels exactly the same. When you point it out, they usually already know. I don't know why this keeps happening. And they're telling the truth. Because understanding a pattern isn't the same as breaking it. You can know exactly what's hurting you and still find yourself walking straight back toward it. Not because that's who you are, but because that's what you've become used to. Over time, those patterns become so familiar that they stop feeling like choices. They start feeling like part of your personality. Like you've always been this way and always will be. But that's not true. You're not trapped because this is who you are. You're trapped because this is what your mind has practiced the most. And once you understand where those patterns really come from, everything starts to make a lot more sense. Most of the patterns controlling your life today didn't start yesterday. They were built long before you even realized they were there. By the experiences you had growing up, by the way people spoke to you, the way they treated each other, the things you learned without anyone ever sitting you down to teach them. When you're young, your brain is constantly paying attention. It's trying to answer one simple question: how does the world work? Every experience becomes part of that answer. Every disappointment, every argument, every moment of love, rejection, fear, or comfort. Little by little, your brain builds a map of what feels normal. And once something feels normal, your brain holds onto it. If chaos was normal, chaos starts to feel familiar. If love always came with conditions, unconditional love can feel strange. If people around you dealt with problems by shutting down, losing their temper, or walking away, your brain quietly stores that as the way problems are handled. Then life moves on. Years later, when you're under pressure, your brain doesn't stop to ask what's best for you. It simply reaches for what it already knows. It runs the old program without asking whether it still makes sense. That's not because you're broken. It's because your brain is designed to save energy by repeating what's familiar. The problem is, what's familiar isn't always what's healthy anymore. And until you notice the program that's been running in the background, you'll keep calling it your personality instead of what it really is. An old pattern that was never meant to last forever. Here's the part most people never stop to think about. A lot of the mistakes you keep repeating aren't really about the mistake itself. They're about the feeling underneath it. Every pattern carries a familiar emotion, and your brain remembers that emotion far better than you realize. Even if the situation changes, the feeling doesn't. So when life creates that same feeling again, your brain naturally follows the path it already knows. As strange as it sounds, your brain would often rather choose a familiar pain than face an unfamiliar future. Think about someone who keeps going back to people who hurt them. From the outside, it doesn't make any sense. You wonder why they keep giving the same people another chance. But to them, it feels familiar. Not because they enjoy being hurt, but because somewhere along the way, that kind of relationship became what their brain learned to expect. The same thing happens in other parts of life. Some people get close to success, then suddenly lose motivation. Others push away the people who genuinely care about them. Some keep starting over because staying in one place feels uncomfortable. Even when things are finally going well, it's easy to blame yourself when you don't understand what's happening. You tell yourself you need more discipline, more confidence, more motivation. But you're trying to solve the wrong problem. The real problem isn't that you don't know what to do. It's that a part of your mind still feels safer repeating what's familiar than stepping into something new. That's why simply telling yourself to do better rarely works. You can't force an old pattern to disappear overnight. It has to be replaced with a new one. And here's the truth that changes everything. Those patterns may not have been your choice. But once you can see them, they become your responsibility. Because you can't change what you refuse to notice. But the moment you recognize the pattern for what it is, you've already taken the first step toward breaking it. The good news is that a pattern doesn't have to control you forever. But breaking it doesn't start by trying harder. It starts by paying closer attention. The next time you catch yourself repeating the same mistake, don't rush to judge yourself. Instead, pause for a moment and ask yourself a different question. What was I feeling right before this happened? Not what happened. Not who said what. What were you feeling? Because every pattern has a feeling that comes before it. Maybe it's rejection. Maybe it's fear. Maybe it's loneliness. Maybe it's the feeling that you're not enough. Whatever it is, that's where the pattern begins, not with your actions, but with your emotions. Once you notice that feeling, don't push it away. Stay with it for a moment. Let yourself recognize it instead of reacting to it. You might be surprised how familiar it feels. Then ask yourself something else. When have I felt this before? You don't have to force an answer. Just be honest with yourself. Sometimes you'll realize that the feeling has been with you much longer than the mistake itself. And when you see that connection, something begins to change. The pattern no longer feels like your identity. It starts to look like an old habit you've been carrying for years. From there, give yourself something you've probably never given yourself before. A small pause. Not a perfect response. Not the perfect decision. Just a pause. Because that tiny moment, between the feeling and the reaction, is where your future starts to change. Every time you choose to pause instead of running the old pattern, you're teaching your brain that it doesn't have to follow the same road anymore. It won't happen overnight. There will be days when you slip back into old habits. That's part of the process. Don't mistake a setback for failure. The fact that you can recognize the pattern now means you're already seeing something you couldn't see before. And that's how real change begins. Most people spend their lives repeating the same patterns and believing that's just who they are. But you're not your patterns. You're the person who has the power to change them. If this video helped you understand yourself a little better, share it with someone who's been asking themselves, Why do I keep doing this? It might be exactly what they need to hear. And if you want to keep uncovering the hidden patterns that shape the way you think, feel, and live, subscribe to Mindforge Theory. Every video is designed to help you understand yourself in a way that makes lasting change possible. Because sometimes, the biggest breakthrough in your life doesn't come from learning something new. It comes from finally seeing what was there all along. I'll see you in the next one.